Welcome learners to the course on Innovation and Design Thinking for Educators by Professor Rahul Mishra and Professor Nitika Seth of IILM University. In session 5 of week 3, we will be going through design thinking from an educational perspective. The agenda for today is understanding educational design thinking, redesigning classroom spaces, inclusive curriculum design, digital literacy in rural areas, enhancing parent-teacher communication, an overview of the best practices, the conclusion and amplifications. Of course, we will be sharing some reading material with you. We would love for you to give your inputs and feedback regarding this session. Let's start with the course for today. Understanding educational design thinking. Design thinking in education is a human-centered approach that emphasizes empathy, creativity, and iterative problem solving. It empowers educators to identify and address the unique needs of students by fostering collaboration among all stakeholders. By integrating design thinking, educational institutions can innovate curriculum, enhance learning environments, and create inclusive practices that adapt to diverse learners' needs. Let us look at the situation of redesigning of classroom spaces via the lens of design thinking or using design thinking. You're all well aware now of the various stages incorporated in design thinking. Let's look at how each of these stages comes through when we're talking about redesigning classroom spaces. Teachers, students, and parents participated in workshops to share insights about their experiences in current classroom setups, focusing on their needs and challenges. This is in the empathize stage, which is the first stage. In the define stage, the core problem is identified, and it was the lack of flexibility in furniture and layout which hindered group work and creativity in the classroom environment. So now we have discussed the problem statement and key challenges have been outlined. In the ideate stage, stakeholders brainstormed innovative solutions such as modular furniture, writable surfaces, and adaptable seating arrangements to facilitate collaboration and engagement. In the prototype and test stage, a pilot classroom was redesigned with modular desks, mobile chairs, and interactive boards. Feedback from students and teachers informed iterative adjustments leading to school-wide implementation. And just like this, through the process of design thinking, we redesigned classroom spaces. This is just one such example where an education design thinking process has made things easier and we've come up with solutions that keep all stakeholders happy. Redesigning classroom spaces for active learning. Innovative examples and best practices. Stanford's D School actively engages in redesigning learning spaces to encourage collaboration and flexibility, inspiring global K-12 institutions. In Finland, the Sonalahti School overhauled its design by replacing traditional walls with open spaces and using modular furniture, resulting in a top-ranked educational innovation setup. Involving all stakeholders, including students in the design process, must be done to ensure spaces meet diverse needs. We must prioritize flexibility and adaptability in classroom layouts to accommodate various learning activities. We must also continuously gather feedback from users to refine and improve the learning environment. Let us now discuss an inclusive curriculum design via the process of design thinking. Surveys and interviews with students revealed challenges for non-native English speakers, such as difficulty understanding materials and feeling excluded. This is at the empathize stage, where survey results came out, interview transcripts were read, and identified the challenges, and a report was created. At the define stage, the core problem was a lack of localized examples and insufficient language support in the curriculum, hindering diverse learners' experience. So we defined the curriculum gaps and we had the problem statement in front of us. In the ideate stage, the faculty collaborated with students to propose multilingual resources, culturally relevant examples, and peer mentorship programs for better understanding. In the prototype and test stage, selected courses integrated localized content and materials in multiple languages, allowing for testing and feedback collection from students. So by the end of it, we had revised course materials, feedback collection framework was accurate, and by the end of it, you have an inclusive curriculum design via the process of design thinking. Incorporating diversity in education. The Aziz Premji University in India integrates local contexts into its curriculum, focusing on regional case studies and offering resources in vernacular languages. The University of Cape Town in South Africa embeds indigenous knowledge systems into its curriculum, respecting local traditions while fostering a global perspective. What we really need to do is to incorporate local and cultural contexts in course materials to enhance relevance and engagement. We also need to develop multilingual resources and peer support systems to support diverse learners. We must also regularly assess the inclusivity of the curriculum through surveys and focus groups to ensure continuous improvement. And I'm quite certain by incorporating some of these aspects and also looking at successful implementation of this both in India and abroad, we would be able to make our institutions more inclusive in terms of the curriculum and available for diverse learners. Another aspect is digital literacy in rural areas. Let's look at this from the lens of design thinking. In the empathize stage, we must conduct field visits and discussions to understand the challenges faced by students and teachers in rural areas regarding digital access and literacy. Field visit reports must be included, interview summaries must be looked into to be able to really understand what the issue here is. This was the empathy stage. In the define stage, one must identify the core challenge as the lack of infrastructure, including insufficient access to digital tools and minimal training for educators on how to use technology effectively. This again, we are discussing rural areas. So while you and I find it quite easy to access technology and use it effectively, in the rural areas the case is quite different. In the ideate stage, collaborate with stakeholders to propose solutions such as solar-powered computer labs, low-cost tablets, and comprehensive teacher training programs to improve digital literacy. This is in the ideation stage. where we prepare a solution proposal report and brainstorming session notes. In the prototype and testing stage, we implement a model school equipped with the proposed technology and conduct workshops for teachers to enhance their digital skills and integration into the curriculum. As we move on further, we try and understand how this can be done. Empowering rural education through digital literacy. Let's look at some of the innovative initiatives and best practices. BRCK Education's Kio Kit in Kenya provides solar-powered tablets preloaded with educational content, significantly enhancing learning outcomes in rural schools. The Hole in the Wall project in India installed computer kiosks in rural areas, enabling children to learn autonomously and demonstrating their ability to self-learn complex tasks. What we must do is leverage renewable energy solutions for sustainable technology deployment in rural areas, ensuring consistent access to digital tools. We must also provide ongoing training and support for teachers to effectively integrate technology into their teaching practices. Also, to ensure the digital tools are user-friendly and contextually relevant to the rural communities they serve. By understanding and going through some of these innovative initiatives and best practices, we would be able to tackle rural education through digital literacy. Empowering rural education is extremely important. Now, the next aspect to study is enhancing parent-teacher communication, and how do we do that through the design thinking process. At the first stage of Empathize, interviews with parents and teachers revealed that existing communication channels were infrequent and lacked personalization, leading to reduced parental involvement in student progress. We could make a summary of the interview findings, and let us also identify what are the communication pain points. In the define stage, the core problem identified was the absence of real-time accessible communication tools that hindered effective interaction between parents and teachers. So we have a clear problem statement, and we need to analyze what the communication gaps were. In the ideation stage, the stakeholders brainstormed solutions such as developing a mobile application, implementing weekly newsletters, and organizing dedicated parent-teacher interaction days to enhance communication. We had a list of proposed communication tools and feedback on potential solutions that helped to move into the prototype and test stage. A mobile app was developed to facilitate real-time updates, schedule meetings, and track student progress, providing a user-friendly interface for both parents and teachers. Let's look at the innovative initiatives and best practices to make sure we can enhance this communication between parents and teachers. Here are some real-world examples. Class Dojo, a communication app used globally, connects teachers and parents through real-time messaging, student updates, and progress tracking. In Japan, the GIGA school program integrates digital platforms that allow parents to track their children's academic performance, attendance, and behavioral metrics in real time, significantly enhancing transparency and engagement. Some of the best practices would be to utilize technology to enhance communication and transparency, enabling a seamless exchange of information between parents and educators. Encouraging regular feedback from parents to improve communication tools, ensuring they meet the needs of all parties involved. We must also offer multiple channels of communication to accommodate varying preferences, making it easier for parents to stay informed and engaged. Through some of these examples and best practices, we can help improving this parent-teacher communication, whether it is in school or in higher education. Let's look at the overview of the best practices. Stakeholder involvement. Flexibility in design. And feedback loops. Design thinking fosters a culture of innovation by prioritizing empathy and user-centered approaches in education. It encourages educators to continuously iterate on their practices, leading to sustainable changes that resonate with the needs of the students and communities. The broader implications include the potential for systematic change in educational policies, curriculum design, and teaching methodologies that can adapt to evolving societal demands. We will be sharing some reading material with you. Please do go through that to have a better understanding of the course material of today. Here are some additional suggestions from our end. Do feel free to go through them and let us know your thoughts. Thank you for your attention. We look forward to seeing you all in the next week.